what we're really trying to achieve here is to get consistent in our trading, and to do that we look at biodata and several different aspects of biodata: temperature, breathing, heart rate, that kind of thing. So Ken will tell you more about that. Personally, I find it's sometimes quite hard to be consistent in trading. Some days it just comes easily, but other days not so much. And I also find with live money, it makes things more difficult. I think as I'm starting to realise, it's kind of all in the mind really with that regard. I'll cover this again later, but we've also got a mentoring program going. I know some of you are already mentoring with us, so we'll talk about that as well. But myself, I'm mentoring with Ken, and that's helping tremendously. Anyway, I will let Ken go on with the webinar. So over to you, Ken.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Derek. Hello there, everybody. All right, so peripheral temperature, an excellent indicator of vasodilation or vasoconstriction, and so it's a primary indicator of any form of threat. So the instant that you enter into some form of a threatening environment, the first thing that's going to happen is that, or one of the first things that's going to happen is that your temperature in your fingertips is going to deviate and start to decrease. Vice versa, if you move out of a threatening environment into a pleasurable environment, your peripheral temperature is going to increase as your body relaxes, as your muscles relax. Then your heart starts to beat with a greater amplitude. It expands and contracts. It expands further and can contract even tighter. And then all your extremities get full of blood. So all the capillaries are full of blood. So I'm going to show you guys, this is one trading session. So this is a recording of an hour and a half worth of trading. During the course of this hour and a half, there was one successful trade and two successful trades. So the first successful trade, and that was followed by two losing trades. And so you're going to very quickly see in these three slides, you're going to very quickly see how temperature changes with the onset of moving into a fearful environment, and once we're in a losing, as opposed to what temperature does in a winning trade. So the first slide that you're looking at now, this is a successful trade, and being a successful trade, one of the hallmarks of every successful trade is that your peripheral temperature remains very consistent and very stable. So the dotted line here actually represents the entry point here. And so as I entered into the trade, my temperature actually started to increase, which shows that I feel comfortable with this trade. My muscles are now relaxed. I'm breathing really cool, fully vasodilated, feel nice and warm, fuzzy feeling inside, right? The profit target gets here. And what excitatory response from the body, and it's in anticipation. So the body starts to anticipate the profit target being hit, and all the hormones start to respond in anticipation. And one of the things that happens is that we perspire a little bit more. And so after that winning trade, then as you can see, I chose to do a losing trade, and the hallmarks of a losing trade is temperature starts to go erratic. In addition, heart rate obviously affects your state of vasodilation or vasoconstriction, and it produces a very, very erratic temperature, peripheral temperature. And so then you see that it continues again, the peripheral temperature continues to change, and this is actually the point where the stop loss was hit right here. And what you can see is that breathing level off, and you can see that the heart rate doesn't have the volatility that it had before, because the threat's now over. So this is a quick and short example of how you can know what sort of a trade you're in simply by the way that your temperature is responding. So if you're second guessing yourself and thinking, in favor, if temperature is behaving this way and if your heart rate is erratic, it's telling you that you've gone into an absolutely threatening environment. There's no chance in the world that the position is going to later move into your direction. It's just like saying you walk outside and it's snowing, and you're walking down the street hoping to God that it's going to stop snowing. It's not going to stop, or it's not going to get any warmer for you. The recap. This is all one trading session, an hour and a half worth. First trade was successful, and you can see how consistently stable the temperature is. I take a following trade, but it's a losing trade, and you see automatically what temperature does. Temperature just goes all volatile, because the heart rate now, the heart is under stress, or the whole body's under stress, but the heart rate now is being affected, and it gets this extreme volatility in its amplitude. It's not beating anymore in a consistent, which is decreasing the temperature in the peripheries of the fingers. And as the last losing trade is taken again, the same thing just repeats up until the point where the stop loss is hit, and now temperature actually starts to increase again, and vasodilation starts to occur. So the simply is, it's very easy to know if you're in.
Sorry to interrupt.
Simply,
can you see the messages there? I've just said that there's yeah, probably a good idea to just shut the camera off.
As I said a little earlier, if the audio cut out, it's just like walking out and it's raining and you don't have an umbrella. Nothing that you do is going. So I'll just quickly. It's just the way that it is. A bad trade, a losing trade is a losing trade, and it will be a losing trade until you get stopped out. To get out of a losing trade as soon as you can, or better hit your stop loss, and whilst it's heading for your stop loss, try to maintain a sense of that you don't get riled up so much that it takes you even longer to get into a peak state after you've been stopped out. The most important thing is that when you are stopped out, that your recovery time back into a peak state as short as possible. But if you're going to beat yourself, going to do is exacerbate the fact that you've gone into a fight-flight response, which is just going to push more adrenaline into your system, which is just going to take even longer to filter out of your blood. So if you predetermined stop loss, always prepared to honor, just like as you're prepared to honor your profit target, then if you've noticed that your peripheral temperature is starting to go very volatile, and you're going to honor your plan by getting stopped out, which is an excellent thing to do, the best thing whilst your stop loss is about to get hit, so that your time to recovery and being able to be in a peak state to take your next trade and to make sure it's a good one is as short as possible. So that's my little discussion on peripheral temperature and how it is a leading indicator of whether or not you've moved into a threatening environment. So I just want to say again, every single winning trade, every single one, without exception, no exception, every single winning trade that's ever been recorded by myself using this form of technology, the temperature is always consistently stable. There is no exception to the rule. Every single losing trade, no exception, has a volatile temperature. No exceptions to the rule.